Hello everyone, welcome back. As promised, this is the video on the Triplex. I used the for rent to do the whole, renting unit style. And then I cannot remember the name off the top of my head, and unfortunately Google's not very helpful at the moment, but I used one of the lots in the world that has no lots. Is it Newcrest? I can't remember, but I used one of their smaller lots that is on the, is it the right side of the screen? Oh my goodness, I should be a little bit more prepared for this, but I imagine that there are other lots in other worlds that you can plop this building down on, especially because like I mentioned in my last video, I am not the greatest at at landscaping, so you can definitely take away the landscaping, put this on a smaller lot. I assume it would all fit, but I found this on Pinterest, the idea of the layout. I found a Victorian building layout. It was just like the first page, and I took it from there. My imagining behind this build is that it's a converted house. Maybe it was in the family for generations, and then the people that lived there moved out, decided that they wanted to make some money and converted it into apartment units, which is actually something I've seen a lot in the Bay Area. My mom actually lives in what I would assume was a converted house, just because of the way that the setup is, the way that you have to enter. It seems very like they came up with it, after the fact, after they had built an actual home. So that's kind of what inspired this build. It was just, it's not very Victorian in my opinion, but it was inspired by a Victorian layout that I found on Pinterest, and I kind of wanted to challenge myself to create a smaller space. I struggle with this so much. Whenever I build a house, I'm like so ready to go, and then next thing I know, this house is like huge. It's like a mansion, and I wanted to have a quaint, tiny home for my small sim family. So I do struggle with the size of my builds. But I did try to stick to the floor plan that initially inspired this build. That would be the first floor, which is what I would call a junior one bedroom, because technically there is no doors. The way the layout would have been was that the bedroom would have been the dining room of this house originally, before it was converted into apartments. And then I did make up the second floor as I went along. After seeing how huge the first floor was, I was like, okay, we can probably split this up, and there's more square footage on the top floor compared to the first floor, because the entry does take up quite some square footage. But I kept the staircase. I imagine that the staircase, that's where they would have been at back when the building was still a single family home and not a multi-tenant home. And each unit does have their own laundry. I tend to have this little obsession with laundry. It is, I don't know why, one of my favorite things to include in The Sims to make it more realistic. And in this one, for the first floor, I kind of kept the laundry hookup where the footprint said it would be at. The imagining behind that is that used to be like the mudroom entrance. That used to be the laundry room for the original home. And then when, they decided to convert the building, they decided to keep it there and then just give the other tenants their own laundry in unit, which, what a luxury. I remember when I didn't have laundry in unit, and it was like a dream of mine to finally have laundry in unit, and it is truly the greatest thing. But here I was struggling to pick doors because I wanted, something not too grandiose, just like your basic door, but also offer some privacy for the tenant that lives inside. The first floor does have that fireplace. Like I said, this would have been the original home's living room area, and where the bed is at would have been like their dining room, and the kitchen is where it's supposed to be. The major changes happened in the second floor, where the bedrooms would have been at but are now converted into apartments. And I was trying to go for a flooring that would match, like a old home aesthetic, in my opinion. And the same thing for the bathroom, because I wanted to stick to an older home charm. I didn't want this to be too modernized, too upgraded. And I did play test this bathroom because I was concerned about the sink placement, and it works completely fine. I don't expect any issues with the toilet. I didn't play test it, but I just kind of assumed that, the location of where the toilet is at, that there shouldn't be anything blocking it per se. But I did run a little sim test on it. And then this is where the laundry room is. It is a little large. You can definitely convert it. I don't think I use that many laundry things other than the actual laundry. So if you were to download this build and it completely erases that, then you can, convert that into another bathroom or an office, like a very small office. Just let your imagination take course. And I did follow the layout of the build that I was inspired off of. And then I put the table here, and I just thought it would be kind of cute, the bay window and a little dining nook area. This is the biggest apartment in this whole building, even though it only has a junior 1-bedroom. It is, the biggest space, and you can definitely put a bigger table. I was trying to figure out to put like a shelf, or I thought about a desk, but then I realized the desk would go in the living room, so I just ended up putting like a little island for extra seating. So I'm imagining that the sim that lives here, maybe they like to, entertain and have people over. And I did struggle with picking out curtains. It is the worst. I don't know. I don't have a favorite. Okay, I do have a favorite curtain, but I don't have like a favorite more realistic curtain. I like the ones that came with one of those like expansion packs that, what was it? Was it like a desert one? Or was it, I think it was a kit actually. And those are my favorite, but I just wanted to do something again that matched like the old building vibes and just kind of kept that in mind. And here I was trying to put some bookcases, and it wasn't working out the way that everything was laid out. I just was like, you know what? They can have like a bookcase in the entryway. The person I imagine, or the sim I imagine living here is, someone who maybe is a freelance writer. I do put like a little desk here with a laptop. So I was imagining the sim that lives here is a freelance writer. They enjoy entertaining. It could be a woman or a male or anything, it doesn't have to be one or the other, but I try to do like a mixture between like feminine but also masculine to kind of, you can just pretty much put any sim in here and they absolutely would fit in. And usually I end up overflowing my builds with like plants, because like what am I supposed to fill the space with is sometimes something that I struggle with. And I wanted to keep the clutter to a minimum. I did choose this wallpaper for every single unit because, again, like I was imagining this was just an apartment, and the people who redid it didn't have the budget to like, paint everything a particular color to like satisfy each tenant, so they just recycled the material. Again, something I've seen very common in the Bay Area is just recycled material. You can tell who the landlord is, like which company owns which properties, based on like kitchen tile, floor tile, like bathroom tile, what they chose for the bathtub. Did they include a bathtub? Like I can tell who the landlord is based off that, because they just recycle the same material over and over again. And so that was kind of what I envisioned here, was just somebody who recycled things. But yeah, that was pretty much the first unit. I was struggling with like artwork. I didn't want to clutter it up. I didn't want to like make it too, specific to a certain type of sim. So anybody who downloads this can go in and kind of either upgrade it or add more knickknacks specific to your sim. I just wanted like a standard home, plus, you know, you don't know who you're going to be renting to. And I put up those mailboxes with the 3 mailboxes in the front for the triplex. And then here I put that little cork board that you can find in like the San Myshuno. And then just made sure to continue the wallpaper throughout. I usually go for the recessed lighting, you know, like those bright white light overhead lights, but I wanted to keep the vibe of like an old chandelier, even if it's in the hallway. I just thought it would be cute. And here we're moving into the studio apartment. So this would be 2 hillside. The other one was 1 hillside. This is 2 hillside. And it is a studio apartment through and through. It has a small kitchen, and it does have a washer and dryer in the bathroom. And the type of sim I imagined living here was an older sim. I was imagining like a divorcee or a widow. Maybe like, you know, he had children and decided to leave his house to the children because they got married and had kids, and so he was like, you know what, like, I don't need all of this space. Do I really need 3 bedrooms and a backyard? He decided to downsize and move into this apartment, and he has all his basic necessities: a bed, TV, a nice comfy sofa, which I'll put in later here, and access to laundry so he doesn't have to go up and down the stairs. And every now and then his grandkids and his kids come to visit, or he goes and visits them, but he just really, after he got older, decided, let's just keep it simple, not do too much, and just have the basic necessities in life. And so here I'm just decorating everything. This is a comfy chair that I had mentioned. I was struggling with art here because I felt like there should be something long on the left side and then something short on the right side to go above the hamper, and I just couldn't figure out the appropriate thing. So I ended up just putting like a coat rack. That's where he hangs his coats when he comes back home. And then this apartment, at first I thought I'm gonna make it into a 2-bedroom. Then I was like, ooh, where's the bathroom gonna go? And so I thought about the bathroom going there, but then I was like, the living space becomes kind of reduced and not in a good way. So we're just gonna make this a proper 1-bedroom. And the sim I imagine living here, and this is 3 hillside, sorry, I forgot to mention it, but the sim I imagine living here is actually a sim couple. They're kind of, a younger couple. I'm thinking, a teacher and a bartender. And, they moved into this building because it is on the cheaper side. It's not too expensive. The teacher sim loves to cook and bake, and so it's great that they have this big kitchen, which is pretty much the same layout as the first floor kitchen. I didn't change too much of it except for that end cabinet, which I made a little shorter so I can fit the trash can right there, right next to it, since that little bay window area is going to be their living room. And so I just imagine that they also like to entertain, they like to cook, and that this couple has become very friendly with their elderly neighbor, and they'll invite him over for dinner. They're all very friendly people, since they live in this small converted house. So I'm imagining they all know each other, with the first floor included. And that's how, the first floor is able to get away with having little gatherings without anyone complaining, because they're all friends and they get invited to each other's gathering. I don't know. This is just me in a fantastical world. But yeah, this is just a younger couple. And, they haven't had kids yet, but, they're thinking about that in the future. They're just kind of trying to save up some money so that they can purchase their own home, but for now they're just comfortable living in this smaller, older apartment that has pretty much the basic necessities that you need. I don't imagine this to be like an apartment that's constantly like a slumlord kind of situation. I imagine that they actually have a very attentive landlord because, you know, this is their home and they want to take care of it. Here I use the same layout as the first floor in the sense of like where the laundry room is at, except that now we converted it into a bathroom. So both apartments on the second floor do not have a what do you call it? They do not have a bathtub. They have stand-up showers, which is fine. But you know, I did like the luxury of the first floor having that bathtub, and I wish I would have been able to do that with these apartments, but I really wanted them to each have their own laundry because I was like, how unfair that the bottom unit has in-unit laundry, and then these other units, you know, gotta figure it out. But here we are moving to the outside, and I repeat that my landscaping is something that I need to work on. So I just kind of made a basic trail, and I tried to texturize things a little bit, erase some imperfections. I didn't want it to be too perfect, but I definitely didn't want to have like too much like of the trail coming out from the sides where it shouldn't be. I tried to add, like I said, some texture by putting some mud. I put in that tree. I do end up putting another tree, and I end up fencing this backyard. Even though none of the units go directly to it, I figured, you know, if they ever wanted to have like a barbecue, they can, you know, walk out through the front door and go to the side and make it to the back and have a little grill out. I do provide a grill there. I also thought about doing more bushery, but I just ended up going for this bench because I figured, you know, maybe the people in here every now and then they like to go outside. I did try to stick with the basic pack as much as I could, or packs that I already knew I was going to use, so like laundry, family. I tried to stick to that, but that's why I didn't end up adding bikes, and I really wanted to, but it was eco lifestyle and I was just trying to stick to like one thing, and so I didn't end up adding bikes. There's also no kids living in the apartment technically, other than what I would imagine would be, you know, unit number 2's grandchildren coming to visit him. So I did put a monkey bars. After trying to mess around with this, I put monkey bars. So I imagined, you know, his grandkids come and visit. They will host a barbecue outside, all of the tenants join together and, you know, enjoy some quality time with his grandkids, especially because, I mean, most of them are living in starter homes, so they're probably thinking maybe of starting their own family in the future, or they just enjoy the company, especially the teacher. Although I'm pretty sure like after work it's like, oh, I don't want to continue being a teacher, but I'm pretty sure she still enjoys the rambunctious quality time with these kids, because I do imagine her to be more of an elementary school teacher and not like a high school teacher. But yeah, this is pretty much the landscaping that I do. I do add some dirt. Like I said, I wanted to add a little pizzazz, a little texture to it. But yeah, that was pretty much it for the landscaping. I just end up adding this chimney, and that's pretty much it for this build. I don't know what my next build will be, but I'll try to make it a house and no longer apartments, because that seems to be an addiction of mine. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!